Hey guys, it's Marissa at kitchentablestamper.com and it is Thursday, one of the every other Thursdays. So today we have coffee and a mystery card on the craft social. What is that, you ask? Well, it's a game we play every other Thursday and it's kind of fun. Sometimes we do cards and fun folds. Sometimes we focus on a technique or how to use your scraps, and sometimes we do not a card. Might do a treat box or a bag. Today I posted, well, I should say yesterday, I posted clue number 1 where you gather your supplies. It's a series of pieces and measurements, and then some materials are tools like stamps and images with the dies and punches to cut them out, ink pads and markers if you're coloring, some embellishments. So I give you a list on Wednesday, and on Thursday you join me at 2 p.m. Central in the craft social and we make a card. This is the fun fold card that I am going to lead you through with your pieces. That's how mine turned out. I would love to see how yours turns out. You can always play the coffee and a mystery card on the replay, or you can join us every other Thursday in the craft social. The link's below. Well, let's start with our fun folds here. We've got 2 pieces of Misty Moonlight cardstock. And we need our Simply Score tool. All right, our solid color cardstock, according to our clue, is 4 1/4 by 8 1/4. So pop that one in there. And we're gonna score this one at 5 1/2. And then our next one is 3 5/8 by 10, and we're gonna score that one at 5. So there is the base of our mystery card. Now, also got some designer series paper pieces in that list of clues. I'm using the Heart and Home designer series paper, and we have 2 5/8 by 4 1/8 and 4 7/8 by 3 1/2. Let's go ahead and assemble the base of our card. We're going to fold both score lines. Use a bone folder for a nice crisp fold. And then we can add our designer series paper. I'm going to use multi-purpose liquid glue. And I love this Misty Moonlight medallion print. On the back, it's got a basic gray wood grain. So that's this Heart and Home designer series paper. The A side has, a multicolor pattern. The B side has a gray, basic gray and white wood design. So here's our second designer series paper. There's that B side gray. I love the diagonal planks. And then this side, look at the cinnamon cider and pale papaya bumblebee pattern. Isn't that pretty? It's just got kind of this Heart and Home suite. The designer series paper especially has this kind of vintage, a little bit of like a vintage romance, I think. We're going to center this designer series paper right on our flap. Now we can assemble the fun folds by just multi-purpose liquid glue on the back of our small card. And we're going to put that centered on our Misty Moonlight inside. So then you'll have a flip and a flap. And just make sure everything's nice and centered and then burnish down. Isn't it lovely? Let's line the inside. It's Misty Moonlight, so I want to line the inside with a scallop rectangle. This is from Stitch So Sweetly. And cut this one with basic white cardstock, and it's the largest one of the Stitch scallop rectangles. All right, let's, what do I do? You know what? I'm going to stamp the sentiment inside just in case I stamp it wonky. Then I'm not stamping it in the card. I'm just on a panel that I can throw away. So you are a real blessing to everyone around you. And that's from this Blessings of Home stamp set. We're going to ink that with some basic gray and stamp it in for the inside panel. All right, not bad. Acceptable, so I'll glue it in instead of gluing it in and then finding that it was stamped wobbly or downhill, and then you have to pull it back out or find a way to cover it up. This way, if you make a mistake, you can just cut a new panel. All right, pop that guy centered on this little flip card. There's inside one of these little bees from, one of the little bees from Honeybee Home. The sister set for this would be so cute in there. We have Honeybee Home, but it's way over there. All right, there's our card. We got the inside finished. Now, the Blessings of Home bundle is the one that we're using here. It's the Blessings of Home stamp set and the Flowers of Home dies. You can bundle these together and save 10%. We're gonna use basic gray ink. And let's stamp and color some flowers. I have a scrap of basic white cardstock and basic gray ink. I'll just stamp this guy right on there. We're going to need 2 full flower sprigs, and then we're just going to stamp this area right here, the top of the sprig, to get this flower. Let me show you what we did. We did 2 of the whole sprig and then liberated 2 of these to get a little dimension. So go ahead and stamp 2 times full and then 2 times to get this little flower out of the bouquet. By the magic of television, I have my full and my 2 flowers, but I want to show you how to color this one and how the dies work for cutting that out. I'm using a fun combination of colors for this. It kind of looks like Easter eggs. I've got the So Saffron combo, dark soft seafoam, light granny apple green, light fresh freesia, light flirty flamingo, and a color lifter. We're going to start with our saffron, and I'm going to just kind of scribble in, but not a complete solid cover. I'm leaving a little bit of white along the extreme edges of the petals, and that's okay. It'll give us almost like a highlight when all is said and done. So we got our So Saffron base, and we'll go in and add kind of a shadow where the smaller flower lays over the larger and across the bottom. Then following the artist's lines here, we're going to add some darker So Saffron, and then same with this one, a little swoop around the bottom of the center, and then just follow the artist's lines and add a little more So Saffron. Now you can just flick where these two come together with the light. It'll just soften the blend a little bit. I'm going to leave dark So Saffron here for just a second. I'm going to move to our greens, and I'm going to do kind of a different sort of blending. You don't usually see me do this. It's, first of all, we're blending 2 entirely different colors together. And second of all, we're starting with kind of the darker of the 2 colors. So I'm just going to go on all these leaves almost to the point and fill in with light granny apple. Now I'm going to take the dark soft seafoam and just bring these 2 colors together so you get kind of a multicolored green leaf, and bring that almost to the edge and the tip of each leaf. So I'm going to do that with all but this. We don't need to color these leaves or from the stem down because it's all covered, but I'm going to do each of the leaves from there up with that same kind of 2 color blending technique. There's our green. And then for my flowers, I'm going to go back with the dark So Saffron and just deepen that shadow a little bit on the center. This little sprig of flowers, I'm just going to scribble with light flirty flamingo, and I'm leaving white open spaces. It's really just a scribble. I'm going to scribble over again with the color lifter, which is going to lighten some areas more than others. Then I'm going to bring in my freesia, and I'm just going to dot over. So we're going to end up with like a pink and purple, kind of a modeled fill on those flowers. And that is my coloring. Let's grab the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. We're going to bring in some vellum scrap here. can pop the vellum scrap and our flower. These dies are from the Flowers of Home dies, and we're going to cut a vellum spray for an accent, and then we're going to cut out our flowers. So we can line that guy up. You want the inside edge of the die to touch the line art, and we'll give it a crank. So here's our little flowers cut out. You want 2 of those. And here's our sprig, or our spray, or our swag even, because it's got kind of that arch from vellum. And you want 2 of these because you're going to cut it and use 1.5 as accents for your card. Isn't that beautiful? It adds such a subtle but beautiful texture to our card and just kind of finishes our bouquet. Got a die cut here. I used this label die, basic white cardstock. The label is from these pierced blooms dies. I love this set. Super cool flower dies, and these make great wingmen. You can use the flowers, and look at the beautiful double bow and this little pierced label. Cut that one using this die from basic white. Now let's stamp our outside greeting. Thank you for inspiring me with basic gray ink. Got some tear and tape adhesive, and I'm going to run a couple of strips across the back of this label, right on center, just kind of double wide there. Bring my card in so we can audition how much ribbon we need. It's going to be about 8 inches, but an easy way is just to fold a little loop. Make sure you like the length of it, and then you can just adhere it to the back of the label. And then burnish it in that tear and tape and trim away from the spool. That way there's absolutely no waste. You know you got exactly how much ribbon you need. So we've got our sprig of flowers, our little bouquet, and we're gonna just trim it down a little bit because we don't need all the stem. It's under the label anyways. So what I did was I just ran around the stems here up and then removed these little leaves. And now we've got our 2 pieces. Got another stitched scallop rectangle here. This was also cut with a Stitch So Sweetly. And it's not the largest, it's the second largest one. Let's adhere that to the card. We're going to use our handy dandy multi-purpose liquid glue here. Then we're going to glue our flower bouquets. I'm going to put one up. And one down. Make sure that nothing passes this fold, otherwise it'll bend. It'll be folded the opposite way when you open the card all the way. So keep that in mind as you're putting your placement. Got some Stampin' Dimensionals. We're gonna further secure our ribbon by adding a couple of those. They also will anchor that ribbon to the label. You can pop that on the card now. So pretty. We've got our 2 sprigs. I cut one ahead. We cut one on video. Let's go ahead and cut them in half. And we're going to use 1.5. You can put a little bit of liquid glue at the end of the sprig, and then just kind of lift and slide it underneath. If it's too long, which it might be because we glued it down, just take a little snip off the edge and add a little more glue at the base. And then same for these. They'll be a little bit too long. We can cut them down a bit. Get a little liquid glue there. Doing one a little bit longer than the other. And just lift the edge of your flowers. Tuck them under. Make sure nothing passes that top fold again. Looks good. I'm going to do 2 little dimensionals. And I'm going to put one above the label and below the label. Expose the adhesive. And we can add our yellow flowers for some extra dimension. Don't cover your greeting. So pretty. Now, we need to add just a little sparkle and a little texture. I've got the classic matte dots from the Heart and Home collection. And I'm going to use the basic gray dots and add a couple of those. Got a bigger one and then a couple small ones down from the greeting. And then a big one and a small one up from the greeting. So pretty. Now, what's a beautiful floral without just a little bit of sparkle? So I got my Winka Stella, and I'm going to just scribble a little bit of this gentle glittery shimmer on all of my yellow flowers and lightly brush my vellum. So I'm going to have kind of a shimmer vellum on this card. You can just very lightly drag the tip of the brush over these little vellum sprigs. It's going to add a gorgeous, subtle, little shimmery touch. I don't know if the camera will pick it up or not, but it's really so beautiful. And on the yellow Stampin' Blends, the glitter almost looks a little bit yellow, a little bit golden. It's so pretty. All right, that's it. That's our fun fold mystery card. If you've got any questions about the project, you can email marissa@kitchentablestamper.com or check out the craft social. The link's in the description below. To shop Stampin' Up 24/7, you can buzz over to marisaalvarez.stampinup.net and click shop. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.